You know that moment in a conversation with a woman where everything can change? It's a pivot point, a threshold. But it's almost never some big, obvious announcement. It's quiet, it's subtle. And most guys, hearing only the words on the surface, miss it completely. They're waiting to hear a direct, unmistakable yes. But the real signal, the one that tells you she's not just enjoying the chat but is actually thinking about a deeper, more intimate connection, is usually disguised as something else. This isn't about a secret password or some magic phrase that guarantees anything. Attraction is way more complex and nuanced than that. It's about a shift in energy. It's a mix of words, tone, and body language that, when you see them all together, paint a very clear picture of her interest. This is where most men stumble. They might hear the words, but they don't see the whole picture. They miss the look in her eyes, the way she leans in, the tiny shift in her posture that gives the words their real meaning. So what if I told you that one of the clearest signs that a woman is becoming deeply attracted to you, that she's entertaining the idea of getting physical, is hidden inside a phrase that sounds totally innocent? It's a statement that, on its own, seems harmless, but when you learn to recognize it for what it is, a quiet test of your perception and emotional intelligence, it becomes a key. A key that unlocks a new level of understanding and turns a confusing interaction into a clear path forward. And because most guys don't have this key, they fail the test without even knowing they were being tested. The conversation that was flowing just fine suddenly hits a wall. The energy vanishes. He's left confused, replaying her words in his head, wondering where he went wrong. That opportunity, that brief window where the connection could have gone deeper, just closes. He walks away thinking she wasn't into him, when the truth is, she was giving him a signal, and he just wasn't tuned to the right frequency to pick it up. This isn't just about a missed chance for a physical hookup, it's about a missed connection. It's that frustrating feeling of knowing a spark was there, but having no idea how to fan it into a flame. It's the feeling of being on the outside of a conversation that has a much deeper unspoken layer, but that stops today. In this video we're going way beyond simple dating advice. We're not just going to list a few flirty lines, we're going to break down the entire communication package. We'll explore 5 different kinds of verbal signals women use when they start feeling a strong attraction and are considering intimacy. For each one, we'll unpack not just the phrase itself, but the crucial, non-verbal cues that absolutely have to be there with it. You're going to learn to see the complete picture, the words, the body language, and the emotional current flowing underneath. This isn't about learning lines or tricks, it's about developing real perception and confidence. By the end of this video you won't be guessing anymore, you'll just know. Let's kick things off with one of the most common signals, and one of the most misunderstood. It usually comes in the form of a playful challenge. You'll hear it in phrases like, "You're trouble," or "It's close cousins," "You're a bad influence," or "I can tell you're dangerous." On the surface, this might sound like a complaint or even a soft rejection. A guy who doesn't get it might hear this and immediately get defensive. He'll say something like, "No, I'm not, I'm a nice guy," which totally kills the playful vibe she just started. Another guy might take it as a crude invitation and immediately switch into an overly aggressive sexual mode. Both guys just failed the test. The psychology here isn't that she actually thinks you're a bad person, it's the complete opposite. She's saying that you spark a feeling of excitement in her. She's feeling a pull towards you that feels thrilling and maybe a little bit forbidden. When she calls you trouble, she's really saying, "You make me feel tempted to step outside my usual comfort zone, and I find that incredibly attractive." She's basically projecting her own feelings of excitement onto you. However, these words mean nothing without the right non-verbal context. For this to be a real signal of interest, it has to be delivered with a whole set of matching body language cues. Look for a slight, mischievous smile. Her eyes should be locked with yours, maybe with a little sparkle of fun in them. Her tone will be light and teasing, not serious. She might even lightly touch your arm as she says it. A small gesture to show that even though the words are a challenge, she's trying to build a connection, not push you away. The test here is all about congruence. She's putting out a playful, slightly edgy vibe, and she's watching to see if you can match it. The right way to respond isn't to defend yourself or to pounce, but to play along. Lean back, smile, and volley that playful energy right back at her. A great response would be to hold her gaze, give a slow smile and say, "Me? I'm a perfect gentleman. It's you I'm worried about." This shows you get the game. You're not intimidated, you're not overly eager, and you're confident enough to keep the playful dynamic going. You've passed the test. The next set of phrases is more vulnerable and in a lot of ways much more powerful. This is when she tells you how safe and at ease she feels with you. This is the foundation that any chance for intimacy is built on. For many women, feeling safe and comfortable is a non-negotiable prerequisite for physical attraction to even have a chance. You'll hear this in phrases like, "I feel so comfortable with you," or "It's really easy to talk to you." A guy might hear this and immediately think, "Oh great, friend-zoned." He misinterprets her comfort as a lack of romantic interest. This is a huge mistake. When a woman says this, she's not putting you in the friend zone, she is telling you that you've successfully passed a critical barrier. She's signaling that you've created a space where she can let her guard down. This is an essential green light. She's communicating trust, which is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, intimate or not. Another, more physical version of this is the compliment, "You smell so good." This is so much more intimate than complimenting your shirt or your shoes. Scent is primal and deeply connected to attraction. For a woman to not only notice how you smell but to actually say she likes it, she's signaling that the idea of being physically close to you isn't just okay, it's appealing. She's already imagining being closer. Again, her actions have to back up her words. If she says she feels comfortable with you, does her body language show it? Is she leaning in when you talk? Are her arms uncrossed and her posture open and relaxed? Has she broken the touch barrier herself, maybe with a light tap on your shoulder or hand to emphasize a point? These nonverbal cues are the proof that her words are genuine. Without them, the words could just be polite conversation. With them, they are a clear invitation. Your response here should be warm and mutual. When she says, "I feel so comfortable with you," don't just brush it off. Acknowledge it and validate how she feels. A simple, warm response like, "I feel the same way with you," deepens the connection and reinforces the safety she's feeling. It tells her that her vulnerability is safe with you. You're not just a guy trying to get something, you're a man she can genuinely connect with. This doesn't cool things down, it heats them up by building the trust needed for what comes next. As the night goes on, especially as a date or a planned hangout is wrapping up, you might get the future pacing question. This is her way of testing your ability to take charge and keep the evening going. It often sounds like, "So, what are we doing now?" Or, "What's the plan for after this?" This is a huge moment. The current activity is ending, and there's a void. She's handing you the reins and inviting you to fill that void. It's a test of your leadership. This is where a guy who's not sure of himself completely drops the ball. He might say, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" Throwing the responsibility right back at her. This screams indecisiveness and a lack of confidence, which can be a major turnoff. The psychology behind this question is her desire for you to steer the ship. She's had a great time and is open to more, but she wants you to be the one to suggest what's next. She's giving you a wide-open opportunity to escalate the night. The nonverbal cues here are less about what she's doing in that exact moment, and more about the vibe of the entire interaction leading up to it. Has the conversation been flowing? Has there been laughter, real connection, and those physical signs of comfort we just talked about? If the vibe has been positive, then this question is almost definitely a green light. The right response is to have a plan, even a simple one. Your answer should offer a plausible, low-pressure next step that moves you both to a new location, preferably one that's a bit more private or intimate. For example, "I know this great little speakeasy just a few blocks from here. They make amazing old fashions. We should go grab one." Or, for a more direct option, "Well, I've got a great bottle of wine at my place I've been wanting to open. We could head back there and keep this conversation going." The key is that you're making a clear suggestion. You're giving her a simple yes or no choice. You are leading, taking the pressure off her, and showing that you're a decisive man who knows what he wants. By having a plan, you show her you're capable of creating a great experience, which is an incredibly attractive quality. Now we get to what is probably the most misunderstood, most mishandled, and most important verbal signal you will ever hear. It's the master key because getting this right shows a level of social intelligence and respect that very few men have. The phrase, often said with a playful smile or a teasing tone, is this: "You know we're not sleeping together tonight, right?" First off, let's be 100% clear about something. A no always means no. Consent has to be clear, enthusiastic, and ongoing. This video is never ever suggesting you should ignore a woman's stated boundaries. But we're here to analyze the nuances of how people communicate, and this particular phrase is loaded with nuance. When a woman says this, the single most important word isn't no, it's tonight. The very act of bringing up sex, even to say no to it, means one thing for sure: Sex is on her mind. Women do not bring up the possibility of intimacy with men they aren't attracted to. She's saying this because the thought of sleeping with you has already crossed her mind and now she's actively dealing with that thought. So why would she say it like this? A few reasons. She might be testing your reaction to see if you get pushy or weird. She might be setting herself up to proceed while maintaining plausible deniability. That way she can tell herself she never planned for this to happen. Or, she could be setting a real boundary for this specific night while also signaling that the topic itself is on the table for later. The catastrophic mistake 99% of men make is to get argumentative or try to convince her. They'll say something like, "Oh, I think we are," or "We'll see about that." This is the worst possible thing you can do. It's disrespectful, it shows you don't listen, and it instantly makes you seem unsafe and predatory. You will have failed the test in the most spectacular way possible. The correct response, the master key, is to agree with her cheerfully and take all the pressure off. Lean back, smile, and say something like, "You're right, we're not. I'm just enjoying your company." Or, "Of course not. That wasn't even on my mind. I'm having a great time talking with you." This response works like magic for a few reasons. First, and most importantly, you're respecting her stated boundary. Second, you're showing you're not just after one thing, which ironically makes you way more attractive. Third, you're removing all the pressure from the interaction, which lets her relax even more. By agreeing with her, you get on her side and build even deeper comfort and trust, the very things required for intimacy to ever happen. Nailing this response shows you're a man who is not only confident, but also respectful, a combination that is incredibly rare and incredibly desirable. This last category of phrases tends to pop up right when things are starting to get intimate, or during a moment of quick escalation. This is the preemptive justification. You'll hear this as she's getting closer, maybe as you're about to kiss, or when you're back at your place. The phrases sound like, "I never do this," or "I shouldn't be doing this." A guy's first instinct might be confusion. He thinks, "If you shouldn't be doing this, then why are you?" He might even hit the brakes thinking she's changing her mind. And while you should always be sensitive to someone's hesitation, this phrase is often not a stop sign. It's more like she's thinking out loud. The psychology here is that she's navigating her own desires against what she's been taught her whole life about how to act. Many women worry about being judged for moving too quickly or seeming easy. When she says, "I never do this," she's not telling you to stop. She is telling herself, and you, that this situation is special. She's saying, "What's happening between us is so powerful that it's making me break my own rules." In its own way, it's a huge compliment. She's justifying her actions to herself ahead of time so she can move forward without feeling guilty or judged later. This isn't a test of your seduction skills. It's a request for reassurance. She's in a vulnerable spot, and she needs to know that you won't think less of her for going after what she wants. The wrong response is to ignore her, or, even worse, to apply more pressure. Don't just barrel through to the next thing. Acknowledging her statement is critical. The right response is to be gentle, warm, and reassuring. Pause the escalation for just a moment, look her in the eyes, and say something calm and validating. A simple, "It's okay," or "I'm glad you're here with me," can work wonders. If you want to be even more effective, you can say, "There's nothing wrong with this, and we can go at whatever pace makes you comfortable." This response validates her feelings, reassures her that you respect her, and gives her control over the pace of everything. It shows that you're tuned in to her emotional state, not just your own physical desires. By providing that moment of reassurance, you build a powerful sense of trust that makes whatever happens next more connected and meaningful for both of you. You're showing her that she's safe with you, not just physically, but emotionally too. Understanding these cues isn't about playing games. It's about sharpening your perception. It's about learning to hear the music behind the words. Attraction is communicated in layers, through verbal hints, consistent body language, and a real foundation of trust and comfort. The phrases we've talked about today aren't magic words, they're windows into how she's feeling, but they're only clear when you look at the whole picture. The ultimate takeaway is this: pay attention. Listen with more than just your ears. Watch to see if her words and her actions match up. And above all, always lead with respect. Create an environment of safety and trust, and you'll find that these conversations just happen naturally. You won't have to guess because you'll actually understand. If this breakdown has helped you see communication in a new light, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We get into the psychology of attraction and communication every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming up. And I've got a question for you. Have you ever completely missed one of these signals in the past? Drop a comment below and share your story. We can all learn from each other's experiences.